All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check it out. Check out its local search. Check out its city search. See if it's got BSS. All right, so we're out here in the GBC universe again, where we bring declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video on the profile, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here, in white, high on the left, low on the right. And if a boudoir photographer is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, from high intent to low or no intent. At least bringing them in awareness, even if they're low or no intent, awareness that we exist. And if we have a boudoir photographer business that's falling, they're probably missing chunks somewhere here on the intent spectrum. So here we talk about BSS. We're way over on the left side. Highest intent peeps. This is social search and Google search. Search on social networks for boudoir photo shoot in my city. See on Google search, the highest intent keyword searches. And over on the right, that's our other sister brand, different profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we're talking about BLCS. Talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there, niche pain. And right now, we currently only deal with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. And, that side on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps, interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They have no intent for boudoir right now. Next, moving on, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's what it is. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, we're basically dead. Because we have, we've already talked about approximately 80% of Google searches never reach page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80% of searches, aka the bulk of the market, is page 1 only. So from page 2, we're basically dead. Page 1, that's if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's still not enough. If there's there's 10 organic slots. There's one or one out of if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone else got 1 slot. Then a buyer's just clicking down all of page 1. Basically never gonna go to page 2. Open up everyone's website, gonna compare, contrast, price shop all these boudoir photographers. And as a result, we're still basically invisible because we're being price shopped so much. So we know that 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, but it's not normal. Dude, it's not normal to have that many, those few slots on page 1 when Google actually wants to give us way more to those that want to take them. So 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone understands, but also newly the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody understands yet. So market saturation, that seems like every week someone get a new iPhone. We see them throwing out their Google My Business profile, their website. Now they say they do boudoir. They're a boudoir photographer, or they get a new camera. They're posting in the mom groups. They also do boudoir photo shoots now. So that's market saturation. Also, COVID, tons of new peeps came into the marketplace because nobody could work. People lost their jobs. But again, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so bringing in a ton more peeps to become boudoir photographers. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is a big one. This is what I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. This is where everyone, well, if everyone believes it, kind of automatically, implicitly, this is where, they're kind of like, everyone gets either 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And so, I had, slot number 8 on Google. The boudoir photographer ranked above me. I got kicked down to slot 10. And, it is what it is because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on Google. And there's basically nothing I can do about it. But this is 100% incorrect. Google actually will give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who actually want the page 1 slots. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search in 10 days. So I know Google gives these slots out to the people that want to take them. And as a result, if people believe this page 1 equality is true, then they never kind of break out of the box and look for solutions. And, well, there were no real good solutions before, but now we got one, which you'll see that in two pictures from here. So we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, with boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So our micro-universe taking shape, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And how do we know that? Because we invented it. And so it works exactly as it says. S cubed methodology, social search saturation. We saturate social search with our highest intent, highest demand keywords for highest intent buyers, what they would be searching on Google. To saturate social search, so we show up for all those. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains, all these small streams and rivers, then flow into the large Amazon River. These then eventually all flow into Google, page one Google search. But the initial upstream is ranking high, page one social search across all the four major social networks. Now, SQL methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully, for boudoir photographers, it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Literally the only thing. And as a result, we, basically as a result, that's the only thing that gets us results relatively quickly. Because the only other thing I've seen actually successfully outcompete is market saturation having a brand. But dude, that takes like 5 years minimum, more like 10 years. So because AI is coming, taking people's jobs, we ain't got 5 or 10 years anymore. We got to move ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. And S Cubed methodology is that vehicle. So, imagine we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Omaha, Nebraska. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're boudoir photographers. So everyone's ranking there. And as a result, we are competing with all these boudoir photographers for page one. So we say, you know what? Screw this. The only chance we got of competing here is cranking S Cubed methodology up to the max. And luckily, I was working with no one else in Omaha, so you could actually hire me. So we crank it up to the max, and let's say we are successfully, we're ranking the first 300 slots, page one of, search in all these social networks. Well, not even page one, dude. That's like a lot more pages than page one. But the first 300 slots, we're taking them up, and as a result, we are there's a small rivers that flow into page one in Google. So we're taking the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page. So we're literally taking the first 30 pages, all the organic slots from them. And so anytime anyone in our city searches with a wall photographer with those high intent keywords, they are basically anywhere they look. They're basically only finding us. Now, for organic search, they could go to page 31 to essentially start finding our competitors. But dude, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 search only. So who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically nobody. So as a result, even though there are 999,999 other boudoir photographers and us competing against us, since we captured social search and Google search for the highest intent keywords, we're basically the only one that's being found. So whose business is the only one growing as a result? Our business. Out of all million boudoir photographers. So that's what we mean what I mean when I say this is the only thing I've discovered other than brand that can successfully compete against market saturation. Compete against and still grow the business. Now, once we treat BSS with S cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And boom, we get an instant bonus benefit, an initial benefit, which is for every new slot we acquire on page one, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this is awesome because, hey, we're getting more slots on page one. We get, more of, out of 10 attention because there's 10 slots, increasing our attention. But actually, we're decreasing the number of boudoir photographers we're competing against because we're kicking a new one off every time we rank another, we get another slot on there. That's an initial benefit initially right off the bat using S cubed methodology. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. BSV. We have a GBC minimum here, recommended minimum of reaching 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google search, because basically everyone else will have one slot. So if Google's recommended us 3 times, well, buyers can be like, well, what the hell? Why is Google recommend this person? They must be good. They may even click to us, only us, and not even look at the other options on page one. But in addition, there's a tiny chance another boudoir photographer has 2 slots on page one. So if we got 3 slots, we're outcompeting everyone that has 0, 1, or 2 slots on page 1 of Google search. Now we also know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, with Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we get our full micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Now we use S-cubed methodology. We finally have a solution. Thank the universe. Page 1 visibility. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. Now my results. So myself, purely using S-cubed methodology, I'm going to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. And come down to organic. Organic results, we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is also me. And I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1. And I got up to 9 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1, in only 10 days. So these are my own results utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, main event here, we're going to take a look at this Boudoir photography business, see if they got BSS for either their local search or their city search, and see what's going on. So we're going to Carefree, Arizona, and Phoenix, Arizona. Carefree, Arizona. All right. Boom, we got 1. And let's see. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And boom, we got 4. All right, so we got 4 out of 10 for local. Awesome. Let's go to city, Phoenix. Way harder to rank here in Phoenix. Let's see, we got, because it's a much larger area, way more competitors. Let's see. All right, we're at 0 out of 10. All right, so for city, or for local, we're at 4 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. And so we do not have BSS. We've hit the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. That's good. So dominating local here. City, we got 0 out of 10. So we do have BSS. So we're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search. And basically, we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 of Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation? Yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably going to bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see S-cubed methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using S-cubed methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day, more and more people using AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume, but we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which S-Cube methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up our keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum and then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.